is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gamers for Life podcast, where we talk that gaming shit. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrell. With me is my co-host, Arthur Thomas. What's happening, my guy?
Nothing much. Just rocking a fun Friday night.
Very, very cool. And then, as you can see, we got the trio back.
The three amigos.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm back.
Church, what is happening, my guy? How you doing?
Dude, just made it back to 2024 as a new married man. You know, for those who can see the video, I got the ring on my finger. It's official. They got me. You know, they dragged me to the altar, fellas. You know, I leave the game in your hands. You know, Arthur, it's up to you. All the codes, you know, all the secrets, up, down, left. I leave it in good hands, but I'm no longer a player.
Yeah. your jersey's in the rafters. Jersey's up there.
Exactly, you know.
Gotta retire my numbers.
Like Kobe.
Right, exactly. Gotta retire the numbers. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man, but jokes aside, it's good to be back. I miss y'all, you know. I miss talking games with y'all. I mean, Jesus, like the last quarter, so many topics.
Yeah, we miss you too.
Beginning.
Yeah, we missed you, bro. Yeah, we had some slight jabs every other episode. Oh, this church was here.
There was no we. That was all Jerrell. Just, man, fuck this guy.
No, that's bullshit. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's funny,
bro. I kept sneezing. I'm like, somebody talking about me.
Yeah, see, I thought it's funny because there was a topic specifically directed for you. And I was like, dang, I wish Church's here, but he's not. And then Arthur was like, oh, I had to marry the love of my life. And I was like, I think Church heard that because the day after he was like, yeah, I'm coming back. I was like, oh, shit.
I forget. It was like either something like Final Fantasy 14 or Switch related. No, I don't know.
Probably Nintendo related or something.
I heard everything through the ethos.
But I'm happy. Wars.
I'm happy that you guys held it down, and you know it feels good to be back. Life got hectic, and now I'm here, man. Like
there you go.
I'm locked in 2024, and you know, new year. I'm ready to go for it, baby.
No, you're new me. Let's fucking go. But see, now it's funny. I'm glad you're back. Because those of you listening, if you're expecting a new episode, it's not. This is actually one of those anime recaps to bring you back up to speed as a filler episode. No. Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Oh man. All right. Well, if you are watching us, please hello first and foremost. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. Like the video so it can go around the internet. Leave us a comment too on what you think of the show. And if you definitely be sure to do that because Arthur does the streams on the channel as well for the games that he's checking out and whatnot, or streaming with Church or whoever. Audio episodes, of course, you can subscribe to the podcast application of your choice. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever you use. Anything else related to Gamers for Life, you can go to linktree.com/Gamers for Life, then one-stop shop link to all of our stuff. And here at the Gamers for Life podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links of the time code within the description of the episode so you can go to what segment you want, which I might actually do because I haven't done those time codes in a little bit now. Or you can just hang out with us here at the Gamers for Life podcast and just listen or watch the whole thing. So, with that being said, we had our first big, or our first conference thing to watch that Xbox presented this year, which is the Developer Direct. So we had the Developer Direct. Oh, got the green. He's got the green on there, representing. I love it. Yeah, the Developer Direct. I'm gonna pass the ball to Arthur first on your thoughts, just generally, and then we'll go deep dive in details for the things that they announced.
Generally, as a whole, terms are pass or fail. Pass for me. I liked it. I saw what I wanted to see. Avowed as the game I want to see more of. The parts that they went over, not Indiana Jones, but Visions of Mana and some other parts were hard because I'm trying not to be what do you call it? fatty McFat. So I was watching this while I was on the treadmill. So I was like on this my little screen just walking. So when it got to the guy talking his subtitles, I was like, oh fuck, what is he? I can't see it. But yeah, no, fun fact, I did actually watch this whole thing on the treadmill, so that was fun. I took a picture too. Proof. But I liked it.
Got the receipts.
Yeah, he's got the receipt.
I got receipts.
He's not bullshitting us.
As a timestamp, I have a sweaty ass
When
shirt on my hamper right
when
now.
I say treadmill, I mean couch.
Hey, dude, sometimes kicking that blanket to get warm gets you sweating. But nah, I got a sweaty ass shirt on my fucking hamper right now. But no, I liked it. There are some things, there's no such thing as perfect. There weren't. I will say there weren't any like E3 moments of like, oh, Now I will say to point, this wasn't like advertised as that. It was again developer direct, like, hey, here's things that is going to exist. Let's show you more of it. There was technically one announcement that was like, we didn't know it was going to be on their list of games, and they kind of showed it. So that was cool because I'm more curious how Jerrell's going to think of that. We'll talk more about that. But again, as a whole, I liked it. Again, it's developer direct. There is no lizard speak. It's just straight to the point. It was very efficient, just like boom, talking, gameplay, boom, introduction, gameplay, boom, introduction, gameplay for every single thing. We saw gameplay for every single thing they showed. So that's why I was a fan of that.
Right on. Church, passing the ball to you, my guy. How do you feel generally as far as the developer direct?
Yeah, let me see if I remember how to do this. Overall, I have positive impressions. I really like this format that Xbox does. I like the cadence. I like something in January, and if they do something in E3 each year, that's good. Especially since I felt like the presence was missed heavily in the Game Awards some bits. I mean, they had a few spot moments, including Blade. But this, just for Xbox gamers, the hardcore people like us ourselves, we kind of get a preview of the games that are coming out this year. Like, this is what's on the calendar. This is what your subscription to Game Pass is going to get you for the heavy hitters that we have planned. And of course, we're going to give you some more details in June, and then to get a sneak preview of the next year. So overall, I like this format. I think they tightened it up from last year. I don't think it dragged a lot. I mean, there is a game that I'm not particularly interested in so much that kind of put me to sleep, and we could get into that a little bit later, but I think this is a success. So I like the deep dive, and like Arthur hit it on the head, just the gameplay. Everything we saw, we had some gameplay moments, and I feel like I got a good visual look at each and every one of the games and what to expect when it finally comes out.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I think as far as for the general the general developer direct, yeah, I thought it was a win. I thought it was a win. I was watching some certain gaming sites were doing like certain polls, like, oh, like, what would you grade it, things like that, and most people gave it like an A or a B. So I think the Xbox fan base was pretty satisfied with watching it, including myself. I didn't get to watch. I watched like 90% of it. There's a couple things that I skipped specifically because I wasn't really a fan of those particular games. But when it comes to the heavy hitters, really interesting, especially when it came to Avowed. That's kind of one of the biggest question marks for me, right? Of course, we'll get into it later as far as, okay, what's going on with this game, specific gameplay, let's see it. So definitely questions were answered in that regard. And I agree with you. I do like kind of this pattern of like, hey, we'll give you the developer direct, first of the year, then kind of trickle down, give you some additional content, throughout the year. So yeah, I thought it was nice, and it wasn't super long too, which I thought also was nice, because sometimes I feel like Xbox likes to dump everything as much as you can, like the extended conferences. Like, I never watched that shit. It's like, oh, let's do the behind the scenes and what did they think in Germany. I'm like, I don't care that much. Just give me the main stuff. So I thought this was, I thought it was good. I thought it was good all around. What should we talk about first? Do we want to just dive into Indiana Jones, or dive into Avowed? I know that's one of the big question marks.
I'll start with Avowed only because because they opened it with Avowed. They went straight into it, which I liked, because again, like, we didn't see anything Avowed at E3 or whatever they're fucking calling it now. So I was like, hey, I liked it. I saw Game Pass logos everywhere, but this was like speaking E3, but I didn't see Avowed. Avowed was the one game I wanted. You know, for those of you that haven't played an Obsidian game recently, that I would say that's more in their gambit of, you know, storytelling class-based RPGs. Try Outer Worlds, because again, Outer Worlds I think is their more of like, and that's kind of their lane. They also have Grounded, you know, that's kind of like Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Still fun game, but in terms of, you know, for those people that haven't played an Obsidian RPG since Fallout New Vegas, but want to know how an Obsidian RPG handles, Outer Worlds is what I recommend. So knowing that, Avowed. I I liked what I saw. There are certain things I would have wanted differently. Like, I kind of was hoping for more third person combat, or if third person's a thing. But the reason I say that, Jerrell, I think you and I were both on the same page. When they first showed Avowed, it really reminded me of Kingdoms of Amalur. Now, again, that was only just timing because I just happened to be replaying that game like the week before we saw the very first gameplay. And oh, that's right, there were 83. I have a fucking I have a dirty brain, you guys know this. But when I saw that type of combat, I thought it was to be like, you know, third person, but we only saw first person. It's not end of the world, but I just wanted to see kind of, you know, zoom out view. But from what I'm seeing, I do like they're adding something new to it, which is that their offhand mid-hand is very, very different. Like, I can't think of the last time a game had fucking dual wands. Like, it's like, hey, do you miss Hogwarts? We just fucking dual wield that shit.
Yeah.
There's that joke of like, oh, what's the American version of Hogwarts? Hogwarts with guns. You can literally do that. You can actually have a Hogwarts with guns in this fucking game.
I can shoot pixie dust in your face and then shoot you with a double barrel right after.
Actually, like,
oh, yeah. So that's
like,
cool.
oh, you blocked my Avada Kedavra? Here's a fucking lead bullet. Blech. The style I like, again, I'm not really into that super hyper realistic. There were some gripes because, you know, it's one of the few times I go to the comment section. It's like, oh, what are people saying? We're on the same page. So there was a common gripe that people felt like the combat didn't have enough oomph or power or weight to it. I think there is some validity to that, but looking back, like on Fallout games and Outer Worlds 2, it didn't have a lot of that either, looking back to it, especially for melee combat, but that never took me out of the game. That never was like, oh, this game's unplayable, I don't feel like I'm hitting hard shit. Now, if someone's like, let's say just played God of War Ragnarok and then playing this, I can absolutely see how that might be a notice. It could, yeah, again, you can say it's a negative, but is it a game breaking, I'm going to take the score in this game? No. And one thing I'll end with, I don't want to tangent too much, but I'm still seeing comments of people like, I'm not gonna buy this game. Dude, we saw this with Redfall and we saw this with Starfield. Of people saying, I'm not paying for this game. I'm not paying for this game. Who are these people that are buying Starfield, buying Redfall, and buying Avowed at $70 a pop, but aren't paying Game Pass for $16 a month? That was just something that threw me off for all three of those releases. Like, I get the Starfield gripes. I get the Starfield and the Redfall gripes. But when the comments were like, oh, I'm not paying for this. Like, well, part of me is like, who are these people that are buying all these Xbox first party games? They're putting in the time and investment to watching these directs, but still aren't paying for Game Pass. You know what I mean? That's just one thing that still confuses me. It's like a one game, $70, $140 if you bought Starfield and Redfall. But it's like, nah, but Game Pass, $16 a month. I'm not going to do that. That's just something that still confuses me to this day, even with Hi-Fi Rush. It's like, man, why? I'm really glad I bought Hi-Fi Rush. I'm glad you did too. For real talk, I'm just like, glad you bought the game, but there's another value to the service. Now, just that throws me off every time I see these directs. People in the comments are like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this game."
Yeah, it's a little weird. I think a lot of those people are PC players that want to mod shit. That's the only type of that's the only thing that makes sense to me, but I do agree with you. And I think there's some other people that just have a phobia of subscriptions. Like, just to be completely honest, I think there's a lot of people that are just like, I don't want another subscription, where it's just like, yo, this is the best subscription you can ever subscribe to, you know? So yeah, I'm a little lost with you on that too. Before I give my take, I'm going to pass the ball to Church. What are your thoughts on Avowed?
Oh yeah, man, I got some thoughts, and I'm happy to hear that we still getting the checks for Game Pass, for our promotion. I'm glad they're still coming in.
Dude, I like,
Subscribe now.
dude, even as like, I'm not saying it's like the sale, like people say like back, Jerrell, you were there when I worked retail. It's like, oh, you're the best salesman. I'm not generally selling people. I'm trying to help you. Like, dude, these games are $70 a pop.
That's a great
Like
deal.
if you
Great
play
salesmanship.
if you play 2 games a year in this library, it pays for itself. I'm just literally trying to help you out. I'm not like, oh, Xbox first to try to sell Sony. Dude, like real talk, if you're a Sony guy, if you're a Sony player and you have a friend that's an Xbox player and they don't have Game Pass, clowning them. Clown them all fucking day. They deserve it. I don't care. Like, we could disagree. It's something you could be like, oh, Starfield shit, Spider-Man's better. But if you're a Sony player and you have an Xbox buddy that doesn't have Game Pass, clowning them all the fucking time.
Hate those motherfuckers.
Oh.
But yeah, man, my thoughts is, to that point for Game Pass, it's in this direct. I got 3 games I definitely want to play, which pays for the subscription itself. So as a subscriber, I'm happy. Not to mention Persona 3 coming out in February, which is another thing that I'm really happy too. But going to Avowed, I'm actually more excited for Avowed. When we saw that CGI trailer, right? It has that hyper realism look. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then we got that other trailer. I think it was this E3 or maybe the other E3 before, I forget, where it was more cartoonish. It was more stylized. I was like, oh, this is a different direction. Like, maybe they didn't have the budget to really go all out. But this video, the graphics look better. I was like, oh, this is a happy medium. The character animation looks good. Like, I like the environments. It looked pretty good. The weapons, it was awesome. The game looks good visually. The combat, I'm glad they focused that there's depth to the combat, because when it comes to like a Bethesda game, the combat for me is I never expect amazing things, right? It's always subpar. It's not going to be God of War Ragnarok, like Arthur said, right? It's going to be some like hacking and slashes. They're like, no, this is not a hack and slash game. You have loadouts that you could switch on the fly, and you can have your left hand, your right hand to have different combinations to suit your style. That gives me hope that there are enemy types that require you to be like, oh shit, I gotta use wands because I need fire and ice to do something, or I need a shield and sword, and then they both spawn in front of you. Now you switching between loadouts to fight the enemies, even though it's slower pace, even though it doesn't look as fast as a God of War. It gives me hope that it keeps me engaged and I can create some cool loadouts. The story narrative that they showed was not a really good display. I mean, they try to say like the game has options. It looked like Outer Worlds in terms of dialogue trees and stuff, and that's not a bad thing, but it's just like, okay, you're not. I think when it comes to this genre and storytelling, I think Cyberpunk just does it better. They're able to deliver exposition, and you're moving from like a building to another building, right? While they're talking and people are moving, it just looks better. It's more entertaining as opposed to just, hey guys. Oh, for people that can't hear me, I'm just like moving my mouth without saying anything. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's a dated technique when it comes to gaming, in my opinion. But if they're able to execute and engage in story, I mean, it's fine. I could get through it. So I'm excited for it, Val. It looks good.
Very cool. Yeah. There's a few thoughts I have on Avowed, right? So, as far as like for the dialogue, it seems to be really solid. Obsidian's always been really good when it comes to just like the performances, and then just like the different types of storylines, decisions, and creative control when it comes to like certain dialogue decisions or what have you, or story decisions. So that was pretty solid. The one thing that I know that is going to be, A1 is really just like the quality, the RPG quality. So being able to level up and whatnot, go through different things, collect different things, explore different stuff. Like that's kind of what I'm really most excited for. Is just the lore and kind of like just like how like my character is going to be just change from point A to point B, from when you start the game to 20 hours in, how fucking insane my character is. So
how do you feel that they didn't dive into that aspect of the game in the developer diary? If that's what you're most excited for, like, they kind of didn't lean into that aspect of the game.
They didn't lean into it, and that is a fair point. I do think I kind of have like this foolish trust in Obsidian just from the past that they've provided. Yeah, so I just from what I've seen as far as like the layer, the light layer of like the dialogue, seeing a little bit of the gameplay, seeing a little bit of the skill tree stuff, and just from my experience playing with Obsidian games, I'm just kind of excited and like looking forward to that. But yeah, to your point, they didn't really show that, but because it's Obsidian, I'm kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt, and we might see, to your point, we might see a separate Avowed deep dive. So this could be a good opportunity to kind of, they're giving us a little more breadcrumbs, and then as we continue to follow, they're going to give us the fucking loaf, you know what I mean, of just like really deep dive of Avowed like a little bit before the game comes out. So I'm hoping they kind of present it in that light. And then the music is dope too. I like the music. I feel like when it comes to an RPG, the music is so important. Like if the music is trash, like I get bored. Like even if everything else is great, if the music is trash, like I get bored. So the music, I enjoyed the music. My negatives on Avowed. I feel like Avowed has an identity crisis when it comes to what do we want as far as visual kinetics, and then just like what do we want gamers to think of when they think of Avowed? And when I ask that question, I don't really have an answer or think of anything. Like when it comes to Skyrim, there's a very specific identity to it. I think of the logo. I think of like just like the different, the different areas. I think of the music. I think of just how it has a certain look and feel and vibe, and like this is what the game is. Like even like Cyberpunk, obviously, when it comes like the theme and all this stuff, a futuristic vibe to it, when it comes to Avowed, I feel like it's gone through so many changes from like some type of hyperrealism from like the very early teaser to you have a little more shell shadedness, cartoonishness, and then for this developer direct, it's kind of a little bit of both. So I think it's trying. I feel like Avowed is still trying to figure out what it wants to be, and maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like even like the logo with Avowed, right? Like all the colors and stuff. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a few like other previous teasers and trailers, the logo was very different. Now the logo is like Avowed, like palette colors. So I don't know. I think I would like to see a little more continuity with the theme and like what do we want gamers to remember when they think of Avowed? I just feel like that's an important question and thing to think about as you're developing a game. I think another thing too is that a lot of people are saying in the comments is like as far as the combat, there's like certain like ragdoll physics type of movement with some of the enemies. And then the combat animations seem to be a little stiff, but I think I'm a benefit of the doubt guy too. I'm like, guys, this is still early, right? This is still early. We can still see some smoothness, but there's a little bit of stiffness when it comes to just some of the combat. But I think it can be flushed out. I think the fact that there are mechanics that have that versatility as far as like bam, like I think that's great. Even I can do like magic and then slice someone in half.
We need to have that exact sound effect in the game. Like not a gun, just Jerrell. You need to make a mod of your gun when your gun crits. It's Jerrell going bang.
But other than that, yeah, I'm excited for it. Did they give a date for it? I don't recall.
Fall.
Okay.
Fall.
Okay.
Some games did get exact dates. Some games got a season. But again, everything shown is this year. Everything shown had blank 2024, like X date or again season, but all this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jerrell, to your point, the identity is interesting. I think it's like for hardcore gamers, we kind of know what we're getting into. Like, oh, this is just going to be like a version of Elder Scrolls, but Obsidian. But how do you sell this to like a bigger audience? Like, what does it fit in their minds. I mean, maybe it fits better after Baldur's Gate this year. That was a big success, so people are gunning for another, like, fantasy type of experience. But
Yep.
what did this game even fit within Xbox's own studios, right? They're all making Elder Scrolls 6, right? And Fable. So they seem to have some comedy from the trailer that they tried originally. But like Fable 6 is leaning into that kind of British humor more too. So like,
Yeah.
where does it find the identity in terms of the fantasy RPG? Well, like Microsoft is like really trying to own that genre as much, and like 3 different versions of the game. I don't have an answer for you. I kind of know what to expect in terms of a gameplay, but like, what are we going to take away from the experience? Like, what are we going to love? I think we have to find out. I'd be interested to see coming this E3 when they have that big market push. Like, what is the message they want to deliver with this experience? It's going to be interesting. So,
Yeah.
I hope the game does a little gritty, Jerrell, because again, I'm glad you bring up previous stuff because, like I said, I can't remember shit. You're right. The old logo was like a black background, like a silver, like metallic Avowed, and there was like a symbol, like a golden metallic. The V was golden. And then again, the original trailer, even though it was our style hyper realistic, I'll say aesthetic was gritty. It was dark. It was like an arrow going into the chasm of like hell or something like that. So you are right. Going from that to like this potential cover art, like I said, the palette change is different.
it looks better, in my opinion.
I'll say I kind of missed it.
Looks cool. Looks cool. I mean, I'm not
It
against
looks
it at all.
It does look great. I do kind of miss the gritty simplistic because that's I don't know. I'm sometimes I like simplistic because like you think like the Skyrim logo, just the most technically aesthetic like bland logo, but we all fucking know it. So again, I'm hopeful. Selfishly, I hope this is like another birthday game for me because let the record show, as much as I dick ride Game Pass 2 years in a row, they have taken away my birthday game. 2 fucking times.
The Warhammer game.
Both Warhammer fucking games.
Yeah.
God damn it. Both. The last time they took away Darktide, that was supposed to be my Game Pass game for my birthday. And then Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 was supposed to be my this year's fucking Game Pass birthday game to myself. So Avowed, please don't fuck me.
With that being said. Transitioning, let's talk about Hellblade a little bit. Hellblade 2.
Hell yeah.
Man, I'll be honest with you guys. I was most excited out of all the games. I think I'm most excited for Hellblade 2 for Senua's Saga. It just shows they're really like there's so much commitment. So like from watching that, and I didn't get to beat the first Senua's Saga, but I mean, even just playing that one, I was like, okay, they're going a route that is very involved, and then there's some originality there. So it's really diving into Psychosis, and then having like professionals like behind the scenes, just to have some authenticity to that experience, and having headphones on. And most of the time when I play games these days, I have headphones on as well. So, it just makes it even more intense. But the graphics look insane. Look really, really good, I think. I think there's a couple of moments where maybe the blacks are a little too dark, or like I can't like see an enemy and I'm like stabbing into the dark. I'm like, I hope I hit whatever the fuck grabbed me in the back, you know what I mean? So like that's kind of frustrating. I could see potentially, especially with someone who doesn't have like a high-end TV where like, the OLEDs and like the deep blacks and the bright whites and stuff like that, and like having that might be a potential issue for someone who has just like a regular fucking 1080p TV. I can't fucking see anything,
Jerrell's like, yo, I'm gonna play this shit on xCloud. Well, how good will it look on my phone? But that's real though.
Yeah, but as far as like everything else looks amazing. I mean the main character who is Senua, like she just has like an amazing like presence and stuff, and like her voice is dope, and just the music is great. Everyone seems like they really are passionate about the project. And it kind of brings me back to kind of like some old school like behind the scenes stuff, I feel like with Rocksteady, when they were talking about Suicide Squad behind the scenes, I didn't believe any of those motherfuckers. I was just I feel like everyone had a gun to their head, you know what I mean? I was just like, Like, who is making you guys make this bullshit? Like, I know you motherfuckers don't want to make this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now, like, obviously, I know you weren't here for the last episode, Church, but as far as just like, God, that game looks worse and worse every time we fucking see it. But for Senua, for this behind the scenes, yeah, like, I feel like everyone's super like, like they know they're passionate about it in a certain particular way. The music is great. Obviously, the psychosis is going to be even more intense. It seems like, and then the combat is supposed to be different with every enemy, which I find really interesting as well. I think really my only worry is just as far as like, like I don't want to be like stabbing into the darkness like for like 50% of the game. I think that would be like kind of like lame. But other than that, I mean, I'm hyped for it. What are your thoughts, Church?
Yeah, I mean, Hellblade, I've been excited for years now. It's one of the few games I've played with my wife. Well, I actually watched her play. She played the entire first game. I was in the background giving some tips and stuff, but I watched her complete it. Um, I'm a little bit concerned, because I feel like we didn't see a whole lot. Then finding out it's like a digital release is not an issue, but the price tag is $50, right? That means I feel like it's gonna be a shorter experience. Like the first game was like 8 hours. I was hoping this would be longer, right? They would take the original idea and then expand upon it and give us a grand adventure. And it seems it's gonna be, bite size a little bit. And maybe it's bigger than we think it is. And they don't want to show too much because like they don't want to give anything away. But I'm excited to see how it plays out. I mean, I'm tired of seeing the landscape photos and what they do to get the vibe. Like, I get it. I've seen that for the last 2 to 3 years. It's showing me more gameplay. You don't have to sell me on the game anymore. I really want this. I mean, this is a game from Xbox I've been wanting for years to play right now. And Ninja Theory, controversial, but I like DMC. When they made Devil May Cry, I like the iteration of that game. And I feel like that gameplay style they have is pretty solid. So if they're just expanding on that and making it really fun to play, maybe we can get some cool replay value out of this game mode. God of War recently did the Valhalla expansion for DLC where they did a roguelike. I'm hoping maybe Ninja Theory 2, if they really expand the combat, can do something on to keep the replayability going over and over, whether it be like scorekeeping, additional DLC. I don't know. But I guess we'll see when it comes into May. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is a game I'm gonna have all the lights off. I'm gonna have the OLED TV. I'm gonna have the headset on. I'm gonna be locked in and I'm gonna be scared out of my wits. But it looks pretty good, man.
Nice, nice. Yeah, your thoughts, Arthur?
I'm excited for it. I know games like this are not to the scale or grandeur as some previous award-winning, let's call it is, like Sony first-party games like Last of Us, Uncharted. But I feel like games like this and the Requiem series is like not one for one not one for one response, but the Requiem series and this series, it's like Xbox, showing it can handle like, truly narrative games. Like, again, they're not, as like Church was saying, they're not as like lengthy as some of these other, like when you think of like a true like, quote unquote first party narrative driven game. But they balance that again with not being full priced. They're on their subscription service. So again, I like that for someone like me, that I fuck with anything Game Pass that's like cooperative, class based, leveling up, give me XP, give me damage numbers, give me loot. But if you really want quality storytelling, the Requiem series and this Hellblade series is it. Um, and I know, Joel, I know you're clearly a big music guy. They showed the music we saw at the Game Awards. I thought that was really cool. That the Game Awards featured
Yeah,
the
very
music of
cool.
that band and that style. So we got to see some of that at the Game Awards. I'm looking forward to this. It comes out, I'm not saying relatively quick, but I want to say it's the first of all these. Of everything we saw that was announced with a true hard date, Hellblade's first. Hellblade is May 22nd or May 31st. I remember
There's
it was
21st or something like that.
21st. I remember it was May some number and then in a 1. So it's either 31st or 21st. They give 21st. So give or take, in the next few months, this game is practically done. I'm looking forward to it. For people like me that never played the first one, it's made me want to play it. Like the Requiem series was I forget the full name, like the Plague's Tale. Thank you. The Plague's Tale. This makes me want to play the first one. And
You
I
haven't
call
played the
Church
first
Fan.
one?
Was it?
You haven't played the first one?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it just I'm with the Game Pass, I'm blessed with options. Cursed
Yeah,
with options.
Of course, right.
It's just- and I will say one thing to Church's point, something I learned from another game too. I really hope we do get past the trailer, these trailer moments of look at the landscape. If your landscape is good enough, we will experience it. I know I talk about this game a lot. I'll keep it brief. An experience I had with that was Remnant 2. That was a game where I have never really truly stopped and smelled the roses until I played that game, because that game's landscape is so good. It's so different. So there are times where I'm like, Church is dying, and he's like, revive me. And I'm like, dude, this wall looks so sick. And so if your landscape, if your world you're building is truly that good, you really to a point don't need to focus on it in the trailer. It will come to life, and your players, the players will see that themselves when they experience the game. Because again, when I played Remnant 2, I was never like, oh man, I saw the trailer, these worlds look cool. No, the game looked fun and I bought it. Eventually came on Game Pass, but I did buy it, and then all of a sudden I play the game. I'm like, holy shit, this world, the level design's sick. So I think again, it's when it comes to things like that, it's like say less, do more, and let the game speak for itself, which I think it will at launch coming in May.
Yeah, man. I kind of wanted to just add to that. It's just, I think because this game came out on PlayStation, right, originally. I think this is one of the games that when Xbox was coming to the next generation that everybody was looking for, whether you're an Xbox fan or PlayStation fan. I think this is will have a lot of eyes on it. It received a lot of praise when it came out, right? It won awards, right? It's one of the new IPs from the Xbox has under the umbrella, quote unquote. That I think is going to have high expectations from like Xbox people and PlayStation. Kind of brave for Xbox to put it out in May, right before E3 again, right? So like, does it review good, and then you have positive stuff going into the showcase? Or do we have another Redfall situation where Phil Spencer is coming out going like, "Yo, guys, I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry." I I want the game to do good, and the story was amazing, but the gameplay itself rivals that of like PlayStation IPs, like when it comes to function. Like it really, the combat feels amazing, and like if they lean into that hard, they will have something truly special that like only maybe like a Capcom can like replicate and kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens a little bit. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, I think you make a really good point too, Church, as far as like how long is this game? And especially with the price tag, I think that is a relevant question to ask. I mean, if it was 20 hours, I would be a happy camper, to be honest with you.
yeah.
When it comes to narrative games, I don't need a 100-hour adventure. You know what I'm saying? Like
Completed in a weekend. I got you.
yeah, it's like, yeah, give me a few sit downs, I can get it knocked out. Like I'm happy. Like I'm on that grind. If it was like an RPG or something, then obviously different story. But I think May is a good time frame, especially because E3 unfortunately is like donezo for real. They're literally it's literally done, and then Xbox and Sony, Nintendo, they really are the E3 these days. They create their own conferences. I am curious to see what comes out around it, to your point, as far as like, hey, like, is this going to compete against anything else? I think Senua Hellblade 2 has a specific uniqueness that I think it'll do well. I think it'll do well. Yeah. I mean, it's Game Pass as well, right? So I mean, shit, just doing this until May 21st. Rub my hands together. Should we rip the Band-Aid off? Actually, before that, what were you guys' thoughts on the Aria History Untold or Visions of Mana? Did you guys have an interest for those when they talked about them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Civilization fan, so when it go into that depth and building your own society, like I like that shit. I even did Black and White and Black and White 2 back in the day, a little bit too on PC.
Dang, old school.
Yeah,
I remember those titles stuck
yeah.
in the drawer at GameStop. Off the
I
floor.
picked it up, man.
There you go. There you go.
It looked cool. I don't have a PC, so I won't be playing it. It looks like there's a lot of care for it and love that went into it. It seems fun, but other than that, man, just I'm a console player through and through. So that's what my thoughts real quick.
Oh, I didn't know it was console only.
Yeah,
I mean, I
PC.
didn't know it was PC only.
Yeah.
Oh, lame. Well, one thing I did want to ask. Okay, up until that moment where I bum myself, or you bum me out, it's fine though. How do you think about a game like this being a Civ game? Being by the same developers that involve a Civ 5. How do you feel that this game's almost like a hybrid RTS because it's not true like turn based? It's like that hybrid where it's like Civilizations, but there's no quote unquote turn system. You're just going.
I'm fine with it. I guess it's everything's happening at once, right? It's fine. I play the style games too. The tone base is kind of cool because you can take your time with it. It depends how steep the learning curve is in the game, right? You don't want to get overwhelmed. Like, am I doing the right option while the enemy AIs is like building stuff, right? And they're coming attacking you. You don't even have like a wall going. As opposed to taking your time on the turn base, you can read through the stuff and plan accordingly. If the onboarding's fine, maybe they have a campaign to do that. I'm cool with it. I like that style too. Halo Wars.
Their learning curve for these games can be tough. Like for someone like me that loves Command and Conquer series, Civilization is like a whole other level of like
I love it. Yeah.
Complicated, which is just fine, but you gotta invest time. Like those, I hear people talk about the length of those matches. I'm like, God damn,
all day,
a whole fucking day.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, if it's coming for console, I'll be happy. Which to a point I can see why, because I was like, man, how will this interface translate to console? Oh, it's not. Okay.
Sorry to bum you out, bro.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's not coming out on your birthday.
Oh shit, it's fall too. Ah!
After looking at PCs, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it's like, who's joining me now?
I will say it's not a gamer PC, but I will say this will be the last pod on my circling a drain fucking Alienware computer. So
hey, congrats.
Moving on up, so
there you go.
No, I'm moving laterally for cheaper.
No, yeah, something that works consistently. That's good.
I'm moving on up, and that I'm getting Jerrell helped me pick out a refurbished laptop from Newegg. That's probably what the only retailers that I would trust refurbished from. So put it this way, my laptop will no longer sound like a jet engine loading up fucking Zoom. So
I remember using it for some podcast episodes where I'm just like, holy shit. I was like, should I get away from the PC before it blows up? Yeah. We potted in person back in the day.
So so my new ones are arriving Monday. In terms of the next game, Tales of Mana. I was going to say, Jerrell, I was wondering if honestly, I thought of you when I saw this game. So I know you like those old school Final Fantasy games. And I know this isn't like drop a mic fucking, Xbox got the Mana series. But it kind of reminded me when Sony shut down the Sony Japan studios, kind of like almost their origin, their foundations. And so now within what feels like not too long ago of hearing that, to see that the Mana series has come to Xbox, I like it because one thing that Xbox was not known for, especially during the time when you and I were in the trenches in retail, Xbox was not known for its JRPGs. If people wanted the Tales series, they went to people wanted the Tales series, they went to Sony. If people wanted old school Final Fantasy, they went to Sony. Final Fantasy 13 was what kind of stopped that streak. So again, the Tales in Symphonia, I think it was like Tales of F or something like that. These are games that, we didn't exactly have midnight launches for, but those were games that were consistently selling for our Sony customers. And I remember, I forget if we were watching it live all together when like Church, like, fucking busted a load on Persona, all things Persona came to Game Pass. He was losing his shit. So now we have all things Persona. Like,
I want you all to have that
You're
experience.
no regrets.
It's so when I think of like where Xbox was with JRPGs a couple of years ago and where we are now, it's thankfully like night and day. Like Sea of the Stars, I forget the exact name, it was nominated for Game of the Year. Everything Yakuza, which Yakuza is a balls to the wall, fuck it, crazy fucking game. All of Yakuza has come to Game Pass.
Yakuza.
Was it?
Yakuza.
Yakuza, thank you. Everything Yakuza's come to Game Pass. Most things Persona's come to Game Pass, including Persona's new game that's coming to Game Pass, which Church was losing his shit over. And now we have this Mana series that was rooted in the origins of Final Fantasy. So is this a game for me? Not necessarily, but I like that I'm seeing this in the Xbox catalog now.
Yeah, because is it Tales of Mana or Visions of Mana? I'm not sure what the is.
Visions of Mana, but yeah.
But yeah, it's part of the Mana series. No,
Yeah.
it's funny you say that too, Arthur, because I was kind of interested when I turned it on, I saw that it was on, and I was like, oh, interesting, because I remember selling that to a GameStop and having an interest in it in general. So yeah, I'm excited, and I think this is to your point, this is very smart, and sales numbers in Japan have skyrocketed as far as for Xbox titles, and that's very different than what it used to be since in Europe it's declining, but in Japan it's going up, and other places and whatnot. So,
how the turntables.
Especially conveniently after the deal goes through. Oh, the numbers are down in Europe all of a sudden. I'm like, fuck off. But yeah, I'm interested. I don't know if I'm 100% all in. Like, yes, let's go. But I am interested, and I think it's cool. The more games like this, the merrier, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's just another beauty with Game Pass as far as like, hey, another option, something I can just dive into and check out.
I will say, Church bummed me out. I gotta bum you out. This game's not in Game Pass.
Those bastards. How dare we even talk about them?
What the fuck are we doing here?
He's like, God damn it, Arthur, why are we even talking about this fucking game?
This one too?
Right.
I will say though, real talk, dude, just on that note, like I think all of us to a point are spoiled. When we see an Xbox game dare to fucking exist at a conference or a showcase that's not a Game Pass, like why are you here?
Right.
It's made me a cheap. They've made me cheap fucks. Like they've made me a complete cheap fuck. I'm just like, yo, like why is this on Game Pass? Blah, 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 blah.
There's only Game Pass games and games coming to Game Pass. Okay,
that's all that exists. That's all that exists.
That's how we live our life, dude. That's a T-shirt right there.
I know, right?
There's like 2 types of games,
right?
Dude. The one thing I will also add to that part of the showcase, I put in the group chat, yo, the swag on that guy and his fucking leather jacket was
bro, that guy was on
sick.
Point.
Oh
Swag
yeah.
Dude, and I didn't plan it, but the exact screenshot I sent you guys, the juxtaposition of his like black leather jacket while sitting, I couldn't help but it was our goal to make the most adorable animals. It was like this like vastly different thing of like you have this guy that looks like a villain or like an anti-hero from like a Beautiful Joe series, and just saying like we needed to make the animals as cute as possible.
And we made them look evil. Pay close attention to the animation.
Yeah, for but sorry, Captain Swaggy over there. Your game's not Game Pass, so we won't talk about it too much longer. But I will say, Church, something I did think of when I put in the group chat too. A lot of the combat did remind me of Kingdom Hearts 1's. That was pretty interesting. I saw things I liked, and then it ended, and I'm like, oh, I don't see a Game Pass logo. Damn it.
Right.
All of a sudden the disinterest.
Right. So yeah, my thoughts. I mean, I think you really captured everything I had my thoughts about that game, Vision of Mana. I think Xbox's commitment and promises of bringing JRPGs, we're seeing it, right? We haven't seen it on Game Pass yet. You know, we still got some place to go, but we'll get there.
It's okay. Persona's coming.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
And so is Church.
My God, Lord, sweat. But they're coming, bro. And I phase. So I'll admit myself. Hold on. Phrasing.
Dude, sorry. I love that Freudian slip of like they're coming. Face. I mean, pause. Shit.
Damn. Yeah, dude. I think they're just committed, man. With the JRPGs. It is interesting. I'm actually more happy because I'm actually okay. There is something I could talk about that you didn't cover. You know, it just Xbox's relationship with Square Enix is getting so much better. We got Visions of Mana, Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox. At least you guys forget. Okay.
I did, and I'm glad you're reminding me,
back.
Church.
He's back.
Dude.
We never would have said that statement.
I'm glad you're back because I totally forgot. And real talk, bug me when that game drops on that game drops in Game Pass. Like I'll go all in. I don't know if you have a tank or something. I'll me. I feel that support role. So if you need an archer in your you need an archer in your squad. I'm that guy.
Right.
You need a healer. Hit me the fuck up,
bro. We good. Tank, DPS, healer. We got you. We're ready to go. I'm gonna get it for Xbox too. The beta for the Xbox testing comes out, I think, in March. My brother signed up to it. I'm gonna sign up to it too. And when it comes out, I think it actually comes out end of April of May. I'm not joking, for the FF14, and then we got like the new expansion coming out that summer or whatever. But it just goes to show you Xbox's commitment to delivering these types of games, the Square Enix's games, the JRPGs to the Xbox community and kind of stuff. And Arthur, you kind of just nailed this topic. They came out really strong, and this is another proof of that commitment. So
absolutely. Now, speaking of, it's funny. The last episode, Arthur was like, "If they're gonna do the whips in Indiana Jones, make it like the G-Force whips."
Yeah.
And so the Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. I feel like this is kind of what
Good title.
Yeah.
How you guys feel about the title in terms of Indiana Jones titles? You know.
I'm mixed because it sounds simple, but it's still adventure-y.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if there's anything to change, they could just change the word circle. Like just that one word is like makes me go, eh. It's not bad because everything is like Indiana Jones and the blank of blank and the 2-word title. There's Indiana Jones never has like a 1-word title. It's never Indiana Jones and the Ark. It's like Last Crusade, Temple of Doom. Fun fact, by the way, I thought it was funny that when they showed the Indiana Jones titles, they only mentioned the first 3. They didn't talk about all the other shit.
Because in my mind, I thought that they just said it's between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Crusade. They didn't even mention Temple of Doom.
No, they did. When it first came on, they showed the titles. They showed the titles of all 3.
Oh, okay. And
they stopped at Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
And then it mentioned the Crystal Skull or this Hourglass bullshit that just came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't meant to. Yes, you are right. Story wise, it takes place with those 2, but at the very opening thing, they showed all 3. But the title I like. It's Indiana Jonesy. Again, I feel like my one critique is that they should have changed the word circle to something a little more adventure-y, like Crusade. Ark. Temple of Doom. These are words that stick with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because he was going through something and it had like a different name, but it was like Circularis, and he was like, "Oh, the circle," you know what I mean? But it's just like you can't be like Indiana Jones and the Circularis or whatever that actual name was, right?
Indiana Jones ain't British. I know what you're going with that, and actually, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's a British ass fucking word. Get that out of my Indiana Jones title.
But
no, yes, he may work at a British museum, but it's different.
But as far as as far as the presentation and everything, I mean, I was sold. Like, this is kind of what I thought the Indiana Jones game would be, or hoping that it would be, just because like they were just putting so much like they're just like really like going all in. You know what I mean? Like Phil Spencer talking about it and all this stuff, and I'm like, guys, Indiana fucking Jones, are you fucking serious? You know, and that's why we named the last episode. You know, is this going to be the Uncharted? You know, Uncharted for Xbox. And they say that it's not, but I do like what I saw. You know, I like that the cinematic feel is there. I do like that. The voice acting seems to be very good. Obviously, we got our boy Troy Baker voicing Indiana Jones, young Indiana Jones, and I think he sounds really good. I think he's doing, he's doing an expertise job. I do love that they actually have Harrison Ford's likeness, right? Unlike the Marvel games where it's like, the Marvel Avengers and all that shit, you have a bunch of, random ass people that are supposed to be those superheroes, amongst the other fucking issues with that game.
Marvel Avengers starring Tony Dirk.
Right.
So I like that they actually have Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford's likeness. There were some of those graphics seemed pretty nice. I remember there was one where like the mud fell off of like a wall or something, and I was like, ooh, that was some nice looking mud that fell off. I was like, I like that. That was cool. But the different puzzles and stuff, and then just like the fighting seems pretty cool. Yeah, I really like where it's going cinematically. I'm wondering how it plays. It might play, because to me it seems maybe slightly janky when it comes to the gameplay. But as far as like the universe of Indiana Jones, very interesting, and yeah, I actually was pretty happy with it. What were your thoughts, Church?
Yeah, I mean, I love machine gun games, right? I mean, Wolfenstein series 1 and 2, even Youngblood, big fans. The gameplay is what I'm least concerned about from like a pistol. Like the shooting in those games feels phenomenal, and even the difficulty of those games scale pretty good. So in terms of them making a good shooter, I mean, I guess that's the question, right? Is how much do, as a Wolfenstein fan, are guns part of the gameplay, right? They did a huge emphasis on stealth, which Wolfenstein does have. You know, the optional route, so that's cool. And then you can hit people with the whips. But am I able to pick up machine guns? Am I shooting people? Does that feel right? Because Indiana Jones doesn't like guns as much when it comes to the movies, if I recall. I've only seen the first 2 Indiana Jones movies, so please forgive me. I know it's blasphemy, but
Oh man,
So stop it, dude. You're only
it sounds
shy
like I
one.
should stop.
You're
I made the
just-
right choice.
I'll just say, watch Doom, just to watch it. After that, then you can stop.
no,
Okay.
no. You need to watch The Last Crusade. That's the third one. Watch Last Crusade as well, and then you're done.
Okay, then I'm done.
It's
No
Raiders Lost
Dial
Ark, Temple of Doom,
Destiny.
and Last Crusade.
No Crystal Skull. I got you.
Yeah. Please don't watch that.
In my
I'll do it
defense,
for y'all. Ugh.
in my defense, I think Doom is the third one because it's technically the third on the timeline, whatever. But yeah.
Oh well,
Oh, sure,
chronologically in the release, it's
Oh, God.
the second
Motherfuckers
one.
have time travel now, too.
No, it's just prequels. It's just what's like, this one's there. But yeah, just watch the first 3. That's it. Just watch the first 3.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So I'm excited from the game. I think the game looks amazing. It looks like a Wolfenstein graphics, and I think that's what the IP needed. I think they chose a good story. They're used to killing Nazis. If Indiana Jones is killing more Nazis, they're right at home. I love the transition from third person to first person in terms of combat. I'm okay with that because you get the iconic Indiana Jones style, in terms of clothing, and then you can whip people. The whip looks fun. I like
Yeah.
that you can attack, move things around. I have so many questions about the puzzles. I love puzzles in games. Those are my I love that shit. So, but are they going to be good?
Right.
Wolfenstein doesn't have many puzzles. I'm kind of curious about the ones that you can discover on your own off the beaten path, right? You're not on the yellow brick road anymore. Like, are we encouraged to go do those puzzles? What are the awards for those puzzles that I want to solve this because I get this cool item? What is a cool item in Indiana Jones? It's
Right.
just, I mean, if I had to guess, you're probably going to have some hub area where you have collectibles and you kind of display them in like your museum or something, maybe back in America or something. But the game looks fine. The voice acting, the music. I think this is going to be a must play day one for a lot of people. Those are just my initial thoughts right now, man. So
I like how you talked about the developer Machine Gun Games. Can you imagine, this Xbox approaching them? Okay, we have a game. You need to kill Nazis. Up. Say less. That's your bread and butter. Let's go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wolfenstein
Exactly.
3,
we
right?
love killing Nazis. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If
Not
you need-
Wolfenstein 3, Indiana.
Like, oh, okay. If you need a team that like tunnel visions killing Nazis, Machine Gun Games is your team.
Right. Man, the way they talked about those developers, man, that accent was getting me. Some guy sounded like a sassy Russian. I was like, what is this? He's like, you want to go to the club? Oh
Indiana
my God.
Jones.
It was just getting me. Yeah.
It was the I think it's was it the Swedish developer? Yeah.
Arthur, is this game on Game Pass or no?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I would be upset if it wasn't.
Oh no, this no. This is no, this is definitely Game Pass. And to butter that toast even more, Jerrell, it's it's not Xbox One. So it's just Xbox Series S and X, no more Xbox
thank
One.
God. Thank God. We just have to stop as a society. Just it's just going to the future of the Series X.
Yeah, nobody liked that console. Like, what's this move on?
Have to move on because I feel like these studios, they keep trying to focus on multi-platform and just end up taking a shit on the overall project. It's like, like we are in the current gen, which is was the next gen, now current gen. Like, let's focus on that shit. Sorry, you know what I'm saying. So,
other things about this game: no hard date, 2024. Again, everything was 2024. No hard date. Then this is actually one of the only ones that actually didn't even get a season. Everything else was like the Vision of Mana game was summer 2024. The Aura Civilization style game that was also fall 2024, like Avowed. Avowed's also fall. We said earlier Hellblade's May 21st, 2024. This is just 2024. No month, no season, nothing.
if I'm a betting man, I think October is going to be the month for this. 3
fall drops.
Let's go.
I'm thinking spring, dude. Sorry, not spring, summer. Like, I'm thinking late summer. It's a very interject style game, and plus to have like 3 of these games drop all in the same like quote unquote season, depending like maybe a month apart. That's a lot of self-competitive in their own ecosystem.
You're thinking August?
Yeah, I'm thinking August. That's my bet. Because if the game's ready to go, they got Call of Duty now, right? They got all these Blizzard Activision games that we don't even know. I think even Diablo 4 has an expansion coming out in the fall too as well. As bad as that game people say it is, it sold very well. So like maybe they want to push that too as well. It's just I don't know. I think August they want to give it a chance to succeed a little bit. Same time.
That's fair.
Baldur's Gate came out, I guess so.
Yeah.
Or Starfield.
I was gonna say, Starfield was like September 2nd, September 4th, something like that.
Yeah.
Great
great press conference. I keep calling it E3, but June, presentation. You do Indiana Jones coming out in August. It'd be awesome. So
that's fair. That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Do you guys have high hopes for this game? Are you guys? You seem like you guys are Indiana Jones. Like, what do you want from the game itself?
This sounds super bland and broad, but like fun. I know that sounds like duh, but like I'm not expecting gritty. I'm not expecting like fucking Devil May Cry combo S tier fucking combat. It's in Indiana goddamn Jones. I'm expecting like a good mix of like that puzzle with combat. Like, this is like, there are games like, for example, Kojima to a point, especially nowadays, with the recent thing we saw at the Summer Game Fest, or was it the Game Awards? I'm going to lose track. Game Awards, where it was, like kind of like quote unquote the movie, the game, which is fine. He does it great, but like, it, what I mean, it's like there's like, like say like Devil May Cry is on this end of the spectrum, Death Stranding over here. This game's to be somewhere in the middle. I mean, like I said, to be narrative driven, there's gonna be puzzles. The combat's gonna be immersive and interacting, but it's not gonna be like a true to form Wolfenstein game, because Wolfenstein game arguably is like, I'm not saying a runner shooter, but it's very fast paced combat. This one really kind of won't be. It's not a bad thing. I'm just looking for a good balanced experience. I want the music to just like when a cutscene starts or wraps, or I finish a combat section, I want to be like, oh fuck, that was fun. Because that's what Uncharted 1 was like for me. Uncharted combat had no reason being that fucking good for what it was, but it really was like in the narrative, the puzzles, all that combined that really helped make it. It's like I feel like this can be like one of those games where it's like if you're to take every single aspect, you might grade it a B, but because of that, it might come out like an A. It's like how's the narrative? B. How's the combat? B. How's the puzzles? B. But it's like overall rating of the game, oh, A minus. Just I can't explain it, but that's still kind of feeling for it. If it sticks to landing in all those like middle lane it wants to be in, it could be better because of it.
It's fair. I think really I want an immersive experience. You know what I mean? I want to feel like I'm playing a game where I'm playing this guy and his name's Indiana Jones and he's just going around the cave. Like I want to feel like I am Indiana Jones. I need to get out of this cave. Where the fuck is the crystal? Whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I want from the game, because like I know they say that it's not like Uncharted, but I think when it comes to immersiveness, that's really where Uncharted shines. Like to me, my favorite scene in most of the Uncharted games is the third one, the whole airplane scene, and as far as like the cargo flying off and the fucking planes crashing, I'm fighting this guy, like I'm jumping back up, like that was an incredible scene. And it was definitely one of those moments where you're like, God damn it, PlayStation. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, this is why I keep coming back to the console, because of experiences like this. So I think if Indiana Jones can capture really immersive experience for like where once again I feel like I'm Indiana Jones, I'm going through and stuff, and if the gameplay supports that fluidity to have that experience, I'm happy, and I think depending on how well this does, it could potentially open the door for another Indiana Jones. And I think the immersiveness has to grab people, because we have to think too, right? We have a lot of gamers where they don't really give a fuck about Indiana Jones. They just like, but they fuck with machine games, right? They fuck with Wolfenstein. Maybe they'll play. Maybe they ever watch the Indiana Jones, or they just anytime they think about it, it's like the terrible movies. But if the gameplay is that good, and the immersive experience is that good, like that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. So, and as far as the length of the game, I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna be. But me, it's just the experience. If it's just a really solid experience, especially because it's on Game Pass, I can be a little more forgiving too with how long it's going to be. Not like 5 hours, but like 10, 15 hours. Like if this is a solid jam pack, I'll be happy. So
15, 20. Like kind of my ballpark. I'll be shocked if it was like 20. I'll be shocked if it was like 25 hours of a game.
I think 15 is 20, if you do everything, all the puzzles. And that's when the mileage would vary, basically, how long you take to do the puzzles. I just, Machine Gun, like Arthur was saying, Wolfenstein is almost Doom-esque in terms of gameplay, right?
Yep.
It's very fast-paced, a lot of bullets. And maybe they can capture that with like environmental stuff. Like I imagine Indiana Jones like whipping down a cart, shooting somebody, pulling something from the ceiling to kill somebody. So maybe it's not gun heavy, but the environments are built around where you can like tackle stuff and just kind of destroy stuff, like push a cart, pick up stuff. And that could be fun. I'm really excited to see what type of gameplay they bring to it. Even like running away from like a building that's collapsing, like what does that look like? Is it more like a Mirror's Edge, first person like leaping and bounding or grabbing on something, or is that more third person running where the camera like just pans out a little bit and you have more control over his body? It just I have some questions and I'm excited to see how it pan out, but it looks cool. I'm glad that Xbox got this like known IP and see what they can do with it. So.
And this could be a really good opportunity too to kind of like start like building up their IPs again, because like I was talking to Arthur about this from the previous episode. As far as like I feel like when it comes to exclusive IPs, like Xbox kind of, to me, it kind of dwindles within that. And then when I do think of the IPs that they have, it's like bad experiences, like Halo Infinite. Where's the next Gears of War? Like what's going on? So like having something like Indiana Jones, I think would be really nice. addition, you know, to kind of build up that brand. Because if I think of PlayStation, like, you know, like you guys know, I shit on PlayStation all day because of just the bullshit that's been going on. But if I think of IPs, they got some solid fucking IPs. You know what I mean? As far as God of War, the Horizon, you know, series, just like they have a lot of really solid titles that deliver. You know, and it's, you know, that's really the huge thing there. So I think when it comes to Xbox, like they really got to build that up again. You know what I mean? Like it's nice to have a bunch of games I can play on Game Pass, but give me some signatures for the Xbox. Like give me some of these games that are going to be quality experiences. They're not going to be not going to be some disappointing bullshit, and you know they're part of the Xbox brand. So that gets me really excited for this. Just that thought alone. So yeah.
Yeah, man, and they're lining up the dominoes, and we got some stuff coming up, and you know, now is the seeing if they deliver, and I think they could. Machine Games always delivers for me, so I'm excited. So
right on.
That's my bias, just like you, Obsidian.
Machine Games is good. Machine Games is great.
Obsidian's consistent.
Yeah.
One thing I will add, as you know, I think more in the game now, you know, you guys talk about it, is with games like this, I hope the puzzles are grand. Like I hope we don't solve a puzzle and like just a fucking door opens. Now they did show in the trailer a little bit, it's like they're solving a puzzle and like fucking walls just, you know, fucking separate in front of you. Because I remember that the first time I played Uncharted when I was living with some roommates that had a PlayStation 3. I remember solving like one of the big first like puzzles, like this big red tower that's inside this temple. And like turns out the whole fucking giant like 6-story temple is the puzzle. And like this, you know, it was like this.
Arthur, you're muted.
And you kind of froze a little bit too.
And you're frozen.
Yeah, I mean until
Arthur comes right.
Or until Arthur comes back. But yeah, I mean I'm hoping like the areas you're going, the temples are more almost like Zelda-esque. Where like the whole dungeon is a puzzle and you're going through the traps and you're trying to navigate type of rooms and dealing with enemies. Or I mean Indiana Jones surprised me. There is an element of like supernatural sometimes in this film.
Absolutely.
Is that enemy type going to come through when you go to these temples? So I'm on board with Arthur. I want the puzzles to be grand, not annoying, and then the secrets that you discover just to be so rewarding as well.
I think the devil really is in the details too, to your point, because like I think of when I'm thinking of like a narrative experience, like I think of Alan Wake 2. I was telling Arthur, like I signed Arthur, so like I started playing that. It's such a good game, but the details really make it really fun, you know, being able to go and you're putting these pictures and evidence and tying it, and the killer's doing this, this is why this is this, you know. So for Indiana Jones, like how much detail is within that cave, writing in my journal, okay, this is this, you know, and then finding different clues and whatnot. I think and that also supports too the reason why they would want to push it on the Series S and X too, that just that graphical performance of seeing those details as well, I think is going to be is gonna make it stand out and give me that immersive experience. So yeah, I think the more detailed those caves are, even it was kind of crazy too, even with the trailer where it's like I'm jumping from one plane to another. I'm like, oh shit. Right. And then he's just like going to town on the fucking like, you know, the machine gun. I'm like, oh my god, the Indiana Jones go crazy. Fuck these motherfuckers.
More bullets.
Right, more bullets. Yeah. So very yeah, and I like what Troy Baker is doing to the voice too. I know Arthur's slowly gonna add in here. But I do like what he's contributing to with the vocal performance. He is giving like a younger indie vibe, and seemed like he's trying to shape his voice around the likeness. You know, Troy Baker is such a genius when it comes to just what he does, you know, as far as for voice acting. But definitely excited. Hey,
yeah, they definitely hired the right guy for the voice acting.
Absolutely.
Sorry, like we said earlier, there's a reason why I'm buying a new laptop.
No worries.
My bad.
No worries. But I think one of the last things to talk about, and it is separate from the developer direct, but we were just talking about earlier today. Arthur was, saying some info, and I was kind of going back. But Hogwarts, man, Hogwarts outselling Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 last year. Holy shit! Like that, like there's like it's crazy. It's crazy too because like how that game didn't really like because of J.K. Rowling's whatever she said, it just kind of put a damper on like them being nominated for awards. But like everyone and their mother knew like this game is fucking good. This game is great. Like mad people are buying it, and people continue to buy it throughout the year. Like I just find that to be such an impressive, amazing thing, especially to take down a Call of Duty, where typically Call of Duty is like the bread and butter as far as like the sales and stuff for the year. I think that's insane, and I'm really I'm really happy for that studio. Obviously, like if they make another one, people are gonna be fucking all in. You know what I mean? So, I guess it's what are your? Let me pass it to Arthur first and foremost, because I know he, that was one of the ones where he was super surprised. I mean, what are your thoughts around that, and what would you like to see as far as for like another Hogwarts game?
Well, one thing to also congratulate Portkey Games, it didn't just sell Call of Duty; it outsold everything. Hogwarts Legacy was the top selling game of 2023.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I want to say also that game came out, I felt like pretty early in the year. I don't know why, like February's in the back of my mind of that game came out. Now like, duh, with more time to sell the game, but still, like that's the only one game can say they outsold everyone else, and it was fucking Hogwarts. So it's just crazy that the most sold game of the year wasn't nominated for a single game award. It's so again, when we say it was snubbed, there's merit behind that. There's there's stats behind that. It was a crazy game, had no business being as fun as it was. Like I said, I had no intention of buying that fucking game. Jerrell and I, you and I were there like 10 plus, it felt like actually like 10, like give or take 10 years ago, when it was like first announced, like, oh, a Harry Potter RPG, it's going to exist in the universe. We're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so we see the trailer. I didn't give a shit up in this game up until 1 week before it came out. Boom, like gameplay trailers were dropping left to right. I'm like, oh shit, we got a game. And what Night City did for Cyberpunk, what the map of Rockstar did for those games, the castle and the world for that game just keeps you immersed. If you're not like, oh, you're not the biggest combat person, this is one of the few times I'll advertise, if you're not a big quote unquote gamer, the combat looks challenging, the combos, the button layout, to truly experience this game, to be accessible, I feel like is a new word that really trended for a positive way in 2023. To make this game truly accessible, I think a lot of clearly Harry Potter fans and Hogwarts fans were playing the game, putting it on easy to kind of skip over this combat and that combo section to just really experience the game, because there's so much in the game you can do. You can do pottery, you can do you can be a gardener, you can do all the animal husbandry and collect all these animals of the Hogwarts universe, and a lot more into what we saw in the movies that are maybe possibly referenced in the books. So what that game did, I'm absolutely happy to see it got the top selling game of the year, because fans came out and bought that game too. Fuck, dude, I'm just so happy for Portkey Games.
Any thoughts, Church?
Yeah, I mean, I
Fuck
think
that game.
No, I'm a big. It's a game that I've not played yet. I mean, it's from Warner Brothers, right? Saying they own like Rocksteady, right?
Warner Brothers publisher, because Warner Brothers has the rights for Batman, DC, and Hogwarts. Yeah, it's also why it's on HBO Max, or all their stuff's on Max. But yeah, Warner Brothers publisher, Portkey Games developer.
I mean, yeah, I think they just knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's what we wanted from like Rocksteady, is like my first thoughts, because I hear of Warner Brothers IPs. What can you do when you take a beloved franchise and decide like, well, let's make a game about being a student at Hogwarts, and they captured it. Like even from the mundane tasks of going to classes, just all these side activities, will being your own botanical garden, flying on a broom. It just captured it. And I'm actually sad I didn't get to play it. I think my wife's friend's gonna let her borrow the game, and maybe I could dump a few hours into it. But just reaching the sales, I'm doing some Googles. Like I think they sold 22 million copies, in 2023. Of course, as a Zelda fan, I was like, "What did Zelda sell?" So like, there was 19.5. So we were not too far behind. But
Doesn't matter if you're buying. Doesn't matter if you're buying Intra Mile. Winning.
There you go.
That's without a fact. I mean, it's just interesting because it's like this game seemed to be blackballed by some of the gaming news outlets. I know I won't name them, but there's a few of them that decided not to even review the game because of the controversy surrounding. I think this is just more confirmation that the Harry Potter and the messaging of the game is stronger than like the writer itself. Like this IP has legs. It's going to run. The television show that's coming out, or they're remaking the books, is going to be madly successful. So it's going to be great. And then I can't wait for them to make a sequel, bring it up like, or any other spinoff. Like, what can they do next? Do they take some other, give them Batman at this point, like
yeah,
dude,
shit.
hey,
What else can y'all motherfuckers do?
Take it, run with it.
Real talk. Do it. I'm not even joking. From what we've seen from Suicide Squad to what I've played in Hogwarts, the combo system in this Hogwarts game is more true to a Rocksteady game than this new actual fucking Rocksteady game. Like the combo meter goes up. You can get your crit. You can do your special. You can do all these moves. I don't know. The second you said Rocksteady, I just immediately thought of like, holy shit, the fucking Hogwarts Legacy has a better combo system than Suicide Squad. Now, mind you, Suicide Squad hasn't come out, but when it's Rocksteady, really, who gives a shit? Because your purple rare gun has a better combo than your green loot gun. You know what I mean? Because that's what Rocksteady is fucking known for.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm like, who is pointing a gun at all of my favorite devs to make bullshit games? But anyway,
well, you know me, guys. I'm gonna buy a Suicide Squad just to make y'all mad.
I mean, you can report to us. Hey, did you like it? But I'm not mad at that.
I have to. It was on my card last year. I had faith.
That's what I did. I was like, that game ain't coming out. Yeah, I think.
Church, do you want to know why I know Suicide Squad's gonna do bad?
I mean, dude, like, you don't need to tell me. I followed all the preview reviews,
dude.
Like, even IGN was like, "It's like I don't like this game." I was like, "Dang!"
That was one of the most like craziest like jaw-dropping reviews. When IGN says your game is bad, it's like, holy shit.
Destin Legary published that article. Shout out to Destin for being a real dude. Real
yeah, we went through the article, and there was like some straight up real advice of like, holy crap, I know we should on IGN, but like, mind you, that's a company that's giving Call of Duty's like 8s out of 10, 9s out of 10. It's like, okay, hold the fuck up, dude. But again, where I was going with that, how the core model, the core gameplay behind Suicide Squad that's gonna do bad, it's because Gotham Knights exist. Gotham Knights is a cooperative fucking looting, shooting, fucking gear-based DC game. That game came out on Game Pass, and people still aren't fucking playing it.
I played it. It was pretty fun.
Pretty fun.
I played with my 12-year-old brother. We did it from like the afternoon till like 1 or 2 in the morning running it. It is not the game experience we want it to be, but in terms like if you were going to make Arkham Knight into an online multiplayer game, this is how you would do it. It feels like we have the stealth sessions. We're attacking Mr. Freeze together. Like, yeah, this is it's the same gameplay besides the dodging mechanic because you can't do it because it's cooperative. But it is what it is. I'm not saying it's a great game, right? But like I see what they were going for, and like honestly, I would not know how else to make an Arkham Knight game like cooperative. Like, this is how you would do it. Like it can't.
Arkham's had multiplayer before. Do you guys not remember that?
I do. Yeah.
And that
like
multiplayer was sick.
Story where you going through the city, they didn't have that. It was like the combat sections, right, in one room. Yeah,
that was still fun though.
Yeah, it was fun. But it's not, and that's the question, right? They're going in a direction that like the fans didn't want. Like, did we want a looter shooter type game from Suicide?
All it is, live service looter shooter gear based bullshit.
Yeah, man. I mean, Yeah, the bigger question, what did they improve, right? I mean, I guess maybe you guys talked about this last week's episode, right? Suicide Squad came out. Some if I'm retreading water, just stop me. But like my question is like, what did they take the year to improve, right? Why did it get delayed? What did they change about it? They're ignoring the battle pass that they're going to have in the game, the shop. It's gonna be interesting, bro.
It's like what Jerrell said. The more we hear about this game, the worse it gets.
That's
like,
my worry, bro. Is that
I
the
like the
game probably
DLC
could the
codes.
game probably could have came out last year because I don't know what the fuck they fixed if they fixed anything at all. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, this is why I'm a fan of you, Jersey, because you can give that different perspective that me and Arthur are just like, bah, you know. So please play that game. Let us know, because man, I'm just after seeing the recent stuff on it, I'm just like, I don't know about this game, bro.
I wasn't gonna play it, but me and the homie, we were planning to buy the game, and then we heard the reviews. He's like, "Yo, Josh, like the reviews are coming out, previews, and it doesn't look good." I was like, "Yeah, I guess we don't have to get the game." He's like, "No, I'm still gonna get the game." Then the other homie's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get the game too." It's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get the game." We got a squad of 3. Well, like now I'm about to play the game with friends, so like it could be better. So we
Don't
can
make
run
it an Anthem situation, bro. Don't do it.
Bro,
Dude.
who knows? Who knows? I mean, do we think the game is gonna be buggy or janky? I don't think so.
Well, that's what. Well, to a point, for me, that's almost what makes it worse. So I know Redfall. People are crying night and day about the frame rate, and arguably that was the thing you and I noticed the least. And it was all just the core fucking foundation of the game that was just horrible. So when you're complaining about the bugs the least and just how the game works the worst, that's what makes me nervous. And I'm not, I don't know. I'm probably stepping on my bounds here. I absolutely acknowledge that, but that friend's a bad influence telling you what games to buy. It's like, I'm just sorry.
Arthur, you over here like
I'm sorry. Like, dude, this is if you're telling me it's like, hey man,
chill, Arthur, chill.
I'm just saying.
in a sucker, Josh. How dare you?
I get it. Like, I absolutely get that even a bad game amongst friends can be fun. That was until I played Redfall. Like, you and I were in that shit. Like, there was times we played off stream. You and I put hours in the Redfall. I was like, this game is just not getting fun.
Yeah, get it on sale. That's my recommendation.
And no, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, at least the asterisk that was on like Game Pass. Money was not invested. So that's how I'm just like, again, like your GameStop financial advisor, just like Joe said, just like, wait for a sale. You don't have to buy it on launch.
No, it definitely not. I mean, my brother's not gonna buy it either, but like, just some of my inner circle, like they still want to do it. I'm like, all right, man, we take this plunge. We see if it's gonna be good or bad. I don't think it's gonna be buggy, right? I think it's gonna have the rock steady polish, but is it going to be fun? Is it going to play? My concern is like I feel like I'm gonna get tired of the city. Like if I have access to the city and the entire game, am I getting tired of it? Like I don't know. Like how many hours can I play in the same arena? And then they're supposed to support a year of content. Are we still in Metropolis at that point? Like,
oh, true.
I don't know, man. So
because the story looked really interesting. Like the cinematics that they showed,
the cutscenes look sick.
I was like, that was pretty dope. You know what I mean? Like I was invested. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know how much of the gameplay is going to ruin that experience.
Were any of you guys Destiny players or no?
I played Destiny 1. I played Destiny 1, and then I found out once you beat Destiny 1, the only way to keep playing Destiny and to unlock other things is you have to do the same 3 fucking maps 50 goddamn times to do one more map, to do that map 50 goddamn times to unlock a third map. I was fucking done. That was an actual literal game fucking loop that I was over quick. So even though they announced Destiny 2 was free, I'm like, I don't give 2 shits. I was there when I found out your reward for playing the same 3 instances, like dozens of times, was just to play one more thing, to play that dozens of times. I got out of that loop quick. Destiny, the game itself, for what it was, as like a looter shooter, was so crisp. I will say it was the prettiest game I had. For that Xbox One, Destiny was by far the prettiest game I owned. But again, buggy, no. But its core mechanics, I got over, and that burned me too much to even try Destiny 2, which was a free game at launch.
Yeah, the loop is not as satisfying once you got into it. The gameplay is fun in Destiny, but I agree with you. Destiny biggest waste of my time. I sunk hundreds. I think I've told you this before. Hundreds of hours in Destiny 2, bro. I've done, yeah.
Those 4 maps were sick.
Bro, it was crazy, man. But
Did
in
you play
terms
that
of like,
DLC, the last one? Sorry, did you play the most recent DLC that came
no,
out?
I stopped after Shadowkeeper. So right before they did the Witch Queens, expansion, and then Beyond Light, right? So I'm like 2 expansions behind, but I've done everything up to it. I just put into it, and it was fun. But the narratively, Jerrell, you like me too. You like the story. They'll have a great story, and every expansion it never concludes. Like
Oh my
there's so many
God.
cliffhangers that they never address into the next expansion. The next expansion just picks up something else. So it never felt rewarding, like I was moving forward into the war, right? The loot, the gameplay was fun, but like, bro, like what happened to this planet that had like the bomb? We just forgot about it like 2 years? Like,
Nah, it's coming out in 2 expansions from now. And until then, you get 2 whole new story expansions after those 2
Yeah.
expansions. Then you might, maybe, possibly cliffhanger, get closer to the second expansion.
But only if you buy the battle pass this season. That has the
Exactly.
Right. So Suicide Squad might have that loot cycle that I like. It is addicting. I mean, Destiny's systems are addicting, and if they're mimicking that, it could be fun. But we haven't seen this been successful at all. Like Avengers, fun gameplay, but terrible loot system. Right? It's just, oh my God. So I'll see how it is. I'll report back. I'll tell you, yo, guys, this is the game of 2024. Or maybe it comes out day 1 and then it's on Game Pass.
I will to a point redact my previous statement about. I'm just saying at face value, man. Church braves the muck, so we don't have to. Like this man's like, guys, I'm like 100+ hours in the Halo Infinite. Let me give you a feedback. Like, dude, 100? I stopped at 6. Like,
Arthur, you right there with me, man. You over here, Diablo 4 too, bro. You took some chances.
I played.
We're in the trenches together.
For Diablo 4, I was in trenches. I was in the trenches a lot significantly less from Halo Infinite. But I will say this, going back to Hogwarts, again, I will highly advertise to truly play that game. That I will say this, in terms of interactive maps, that castle is bar none the most immersive, interactive piece of map landscape setting I have ever played in a game, period. Secondly, the story is more grittier than you think, because I'm like, oh, it's Hogwarts, it's meant for kids. Spoiler, in the opening cutscene, people fucking die. like it is not meant for 5-year-olds. It's like, yeah, pre-teens, but they realize, like, the generation like us that grew up with Harry Potter, we're adults. You know what I mean? Like Daniel Radcliffe has kids. Like, we've grown up. So it's like, again, when you're like, oh, there's a carriage, boom, and then people just fucking like blow up. You're like, oh shit. Yeah, definitely, like I said, try that. And again, shout out Suicide Squad. You want to do something, combo system is surprisingly good, Church.
No, I mean, I'm excited. Once I heard Hogwarts Legacy was like a 100-hour game, I'm a completionist, man. I'm gonna do all things that you listen. I'm gonna do it all. I was like, that'll Final Fantasy, right? So I'm trying to pick my video game epics wisely, through 2024. Like, I'm more of Jerrell. Give me like the 8 to 15-hour experience, just let me live my life, but I'm gonna be locked in for a few games like that can go the distance, but so maybe Hogwarts I'll pick up later, and when it's on sale. I mean, I want to. It's on my list, man.
I respect it. I haven't beat it yet.
Yeah,
nice.
It's fucking crazy, man.
Right on. Well, I think that's going to conclude this episode here for the Gamers to Life podcast. Again, each and every Friday or Saturday or Sunday, talking that gaming shit. Firstly and foremost, want to welcome back, Church, to the congregation.
Thank you. Church is in session.
Completing our group that is the Three Amigos.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, again, Gamers to Life podcast, and I am one of your co-hosts, Jerrell, with Church and Arthur.
Hey, it's me.
All right, guys. We will see you next time.